Huh? There. Oh. Huh? Durr.
Hey now, and welcome down to KC Toy Reviews. We are here today with Present Toys Mask. And yep, they didn't go very shy with the name on that one, and you'll never guess it's from the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey. Now, The Mask is a classic movie, and I was very excited to get this piece in because in my opinion, it's better than the Dark Toys version that's out there and could possibly be the best 1/6 scale version of The Mask on the market now. However, there is a couple glaring mistakes, very big quality control issues. So if you're at all curious what those are, let's go ahead, fine comb those details, and well, we're going to change this up a little bit. Smoking! All right, so here we are with Present Toys The Mask. And as I mentioned earlier, they did not beat around the bush with that name. They just went straight for it. Clearly, they left out the quote-unquote the. Now, also, as I previously mentioned, Dark Toys does have a version out there that is, again, vastly inferior to this version. In fact, it kind of looks like a guy that's trying to dress up like the mask. It's like a guy in the mask trying to be the mask, but it just didn't cut it. Now, this head sculpt might not be the best in the world, but it is pretty damn close. Now, personally, I am a massive fan of the mask. In fact, I am a massive fan of Jim Carrey and most of his work. However, upon all the releases of this over the years, I've always been perplexed that there's an audience that's searching for the Mask 1/6 scale, and well, it's not that I'm complaining, it's just odd compared to all the other releases that could perhaps be out there. Nonetheless, in front of us is now the most superior version on the market. Now, recently by Present Toys, we had the Indiana Jones, which in my opinion, borderlined a piece of crap. He was basically like a rock man, very stiff, couldn't move him very much in the coat, and a couple huge quality control issues. So prior to this thing coming in, I was a little bit nervous. Now, very similar, there is a couple quality control issues, specifically in the paint department. However, what we have in front of us, I think looks pretty damn fantastic. Just at a glance, the very classic mask that he's holding, his head sculpt, the tailoring overall, I think looks really, really good. And again, the shot that we have here, this thing looks top notch with not much to complain about. Even the hands, getting them on and off was an absolute pleasure. Recently with like the Mortal Kombat figures, getting the hands off the pegs was basically an impossibility. With this guy, it was super easy to pop them on and off, so posing him in different options was an absolute pleasure, which has been, again, rare lately with some of the releases. There is a bunch of hands that came with him, all with some pretty unique gestures, and I'll go ahead and show those off in the accessory part, but overall, I am pleased with what we have. The tailoring on the chest, like I said, is pretty good. It fits Jim Carrey and that kind of skinny body that he has, and there's just not too much complaints about it. It's kind of that mustard yellow. The hem and the sew job on it is pretty damn good. Proportions fit well. The pockets aren't like oversized or anything like that. So overall, I would say they did a fantastic job on the tailoring of this suit. Especially the double-sided coat that he has there. It has that polka-dotted inside, and then again, the yellow mustard outside. Just absolutely fantastic. It looks really badass. And then just in case anybody's wondering, there's no wire or anything throughout there, so there's no dynamic poses you can put where his suit is blowing. But in my opinion, that is not necessarily a bad thing, nor was it anything I had expected. And then just take a quick zoom in on the head sculpt so we understand the details on this thing. And again, pretty fantastic. The teeth, the eyes, the overall face, I think is pretty spot on. I'm not sure I'm looking for much more on this guy. And again, I'm going to beat a dead horse with it. It is far superior to the Dark Toys version that's out there that just looks like a puffy, chubby guy that's trying to be the mask in a mask suit, cosplaying the mask. So Present Toys nailed it with this version. Right down to the paint application on this head sculpt, it is really good. There's a slight gradient look to it. And then again, those teeth, the eyes, the lips, everything pulls together quite well on this thing to where I'm very, very pleased. The only thing that I would say was odd, Present Toys went with a sculpted kind of single joint where the head is put on top of the neck there. I think it would have been far better to actually have the headpiece here plug in and so it actually articulates and moves a little bit better, given that the exact point that it would plug in would be right where the line is. I mean, most head sculpts that clip on that way that don't have the neck kind of sculpted in there, the line would be right there where that mask lies. So there was a huge opportunity to put that on there because he just kind of pivots and articulates up and down and left and right. I would have much rather had the headpiece look around versus the entire neck. All right, so here we are in the accessory spot, and well, here's where the quality control has some major issues, especially in one of the most disappointing spots, the hat. Now, this hat is iconic to the mask, and I'm a little bit surprised after the present toys just had the Indiana Jones hat, which was much better quality than this piece of crap here, but just take a look at the paint application on this hat. It literally looks like crayons from a third grader. I mean, what in the world were they thinking when this thing, quote unquote, passed quality control? It boggles my mind. I mean, hell, I could have done a better paint application than this thing. Look at all that, the crevices and the nicks and knacks and the freaking, it looks like a 3D crater of the moon at some parts. And then I also feel like, based off of the friction that it could cause by pushing this on top of the head, you could possibly rub off some paint. And most horribly, the yellow paint on the green head sculpt would just be, I would cry. I mean, I would cry if that ever happened. So I'll be honest, I will never put this on mine, because this was a big piece of crap and a huge disappointment. And obviously this one is very similar, and the same thing with the quality control issues. Now, I hate to say it, again, very similar with the dog. When we look at the teeth on this guy, I mean, this looks like something that could be packaged in a McFarlane toy. When we're in the $200 range, I expect a little bit higher quality on the paint application. It's not, again, that it's horrible, it's just really not good. Although it's something to note, they included this guy. It's a great accessory, and for the price point, it's pretty cool, again, that this guy was even part of the package deal. As I mentioned, you have all these hands. I mean, I'm not going to hold each individual one up, but there is a ton of gestures that come with the hands. They feel pretty nice. They hold things well. They go on and off the pegs very easy. So as far as posability on this guy, going back and forth was an absolute pleasure. We have this wad of cash that you can actually take out of here and then individually fan these. Again, definitely not going to do that. I'm going to leave it as is here, but it's pretty good details that they have on there. We have the mallet that we saw in the original shot. And then again, same thing as far as the paint application. If you take a look around the red band and the yellow band, it's just pretty shoddy. I'm disappointed. Look at this side. Oh my God. It looks like a third grader. Again, the paint applications are pretty bad at some parts, especially given how good the head sculpt was. It just seems pretty disappointing. And then we have the howling head sculpt when he saw the chick inside the dance club. Now, in my opinion, this is completely unnecessary. I mean, it's really cool that they put this in here, but it wasn't in it for that long in the movie, so kudos to the team for including it. I just think it's a complete waste. And the paint application on this isn't horrible. It's kind of an in-between, like it's a middle ground, right? They went from the piece of crap paint application on the hats to this, not so good, to the face sculpt, which is really good. So yeah, not horrible, but nothing to rave about and some decent weight to it. Ooh! That was a really weird wolf howl. And lastly, we have these money bags, which are a very lightweight material. Good detail. I think they look nice. And the reason I mentioned the lightweight is that you can actually safely keep all three of them in hand without fear of them tugging or damaging the body in the long run. There's not much to say about the legs, in my opinion. I mean, they are pretty straightforward. No complaints as far as how they sit and fit on the legs. And then it might be worth noting the feet here are just a sculpted kind of boot there. And I don't know why they sit on top of that white weird peg there. They are just a plastic 3D painted shoe that's on there. And the paint job isn't horrible on it whatsoever. I would say it's acceptable, and I don't know why. It just totally reminds me of Michael Jackson for some reason. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'm not sure. It's a gun, yeah. And then, of course, we do have the mask stand that's included. Now, I shouldn't gripe too much because I always complain if you don't include a stand, you don't know what the hell you're doing as a 1/6 scale maker. So we do have a stand. It is branded. However, I might classify this as a piece of crap. I mean, it is a very basic Amazon-ish stand. $5 or $6 floppy black stand with basically a mask paper-ish print laid over it that I feel like I can do on a laser printer. And in fact, mine came with a bunch of bubbles in it. So it's a shame they didn't kick it up a notch. However, again, I'll shut the hell up because, hey, there's a branded stand included, and it's better than nothing. All right, so there we have it. Mask by Present Toys, aka The Mask from Jim Carrey's classic movie. Now, overall, I have the burning question in my mind that I've wanted to say, well, is this guy smoking? Or is he a piece of crap? And well, the answer is, yeah, this guy is pretty smoking. There is some definite quality control issues on the accessories, but the overall look of the head sculpt, the tailoring, the body is overall good. I would say that this is probably now the best version of the mask on the market, again, beating out that puffy-faced piece of crap Dark Toys version that's out there. All at a price point of around $160 to $180, I think is a fantastic value. I wish that they didn't go for a sculpted head sculpt right with the neck down to the peg. I wish that head sat on top of a peg because the line where the mask is was a perfect opportunity to let me articulate that face a little bit better. Instead, we have to move the whole neck with him because it is all one piece. So with all that said, it's a good segue to mention a score on this guy. And well, what comes to mind is a 7.9 out of 10, which is good. This is actually a good piece. I would say that if you are a fan of the mask, and you won't have too many complaints. And being that this is one of the most iconic characters of all time, in my opinion, it has some fantastic shelf presence. The suit, the green mask, really sticks out and has a vibrant look when it sits there amongst all the other 1/6 scales in your collection. So do I suggest it? Yes. Like I said, if you're a fan of the mask, I think you should definitely get this piece, especially above all versions that are out there. So, again, that's going to be it here for us today at KC Toys. We're going to catch you guys next time, and you know what I'm going to say as we sign out for this one. Smoking!
Huh? Huh? Dirt. David. Huh?